Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to answer which one is the best stock to buy, Etsy, eBay, or Amazon. I'm going to compare these three stocks across some financial metrics and something important to e-commerce, so specifically to e-commerce. So without further delay, let's get into it. Starting with revenue growth annual. Looking back over several years at revenue growth for these three e-commerce stocks, you notice that it's uh, been between Etsy and Amazon as far as the best revenue growth, with Etsy growing faster than Amazon in most years, and that's certainly the case in its most recent year at 10.18% growth. Next comes Amazon at 9.4%, and then it's eBay at negative 6%. In recent quarters, you see this downward trend for these e-commerce companies, and that's a result of people shifting their behavior, spending more of their money on away from home experiences. But over the longer term, these three companies have a strong tailwind in that only roughly 15% of all retail spending in the US is done online. So there's a lot of room for an increasing percentage of retail spending to move online. Shopping is just so much more convenient, and I suspect that percentage will continue to grow over the next several years, perhaps over the next decade. So that's a strong tailwind behind it. Another thing I like about these e-commerce companies right now is decreasing competition, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'll start with Etsy, and what I want to point your attention to right here is in the middle, in the black line on this orange here. This is Etsy's transaction take rate. So Etsy doesn't own any of the inventory that gets sold on its platform. It just brings buyers and sellers together, and then it takes a fee on every transaction. This take rate is that fee. So it's been increasing that fee from 17% in the fourth quarter of 2021 to 18 to 19 and to 20% in the fourth quarter of 2022. So it's raising the fees on merchants. It's raising the fees, okay? Keep that in mind. Now I'm going to show you eBay's. eBay, very similar to Etsy, doesn't own any of the inventory, just brings buyers and sellers together and charges a fee. In the black line here, you have eBay's transaction take rate, and that's been rising from 12.6% in the third quarter of 2021 to 13.8% in the fourth quarter of 2022. And if they showed you the data going back to the third quarter of 2019, you would see an even more growth, right? In 2019, this transaction take rate was around 9.2%. So it's been moving higher, as well as for Etsy. And so I'll even show you Amazon. Amazon is raising fees that it's charging merchants as well. Amazon doesn't have a breakdown like Etsy and eBay does on its website, but I found this article that highlighted all of the increased fees Amazon is going to implement starting April 2023. So, in other words, making it more expensive for merchants to sell on its platform. And what that means, if everyone, and I could show you Shopify also, which is another merchant e-commerce enabler, as Shopify is raising fees as well. And what that tells you, in the industry, when everybody is raising prices, that means competition is decreasing. Competition is decreasing. So that's good news for investors, and that's bad news for customers, right? This is bad news for merchants, because where are merchants going to go now? They can't say, "Oh, Etsy, the hell with you for raising fees. I'm going to go to eBay." Well, eBay's raising fees too. "Oh, forget you, eBay. I'm going to go to Amazon." Amazon's raising fees too. So, merchants are stuck in this position where they just have to pay more. They just have to pay more, or they have to decide not to sell anymore. They have to just say, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. It's not worth it. The costs are going up too much. I'm going to close up shop. So this is good news for investors, because that means more revenue for these e-commerce companies and more profits because their merchants are have limited options on where they can switch. So the next thing I wanted to show is the cash flow from operations to sales, and this has been favoring Etsy and eBay more so than Amazon. Etsy at 26.6%, eBay at 23.1%, far ahead of Amazon at 9.10%. And you'll notice a similar trend in the operating profit margin where um, eBay has the best at 23.99%, followed by Etsy at 15.06%, and then Amazon in last place again at 2.38%. Amazon, in terms of costs, is in last place here across these two because one thing different from Amazon compared to eBay and Etsy is that Amazon takes on the large expense of shipping and handling, of having the logistics centers, of having the planes, the vans, the employees, all of that goes into handling shipping and handling, if you don't mind me saying. Whereas eBay and Etsy leaves that to buyers and sellers. They don't deal with it, and that leads to better profit margins, better cash flows, and overall, in my opinion, a more lucrative business model. So finally, let's look at valuation. And looking at the forward price to earnings ratio, Amazon is the most expensive at 40, followed by Etsy at 21, and eBay is the least expensive at 9.657. Uh, so Amazon is more than 4 times as expensive as eBay. Now, right now, I don't think Amazon deserves that premium valuation because it's got significant headwinds from the overinvestment during the pandemic, which has brought its operating profit margin very low, as you noticed earlier. So, based on all of the near term and long term factors that we considered and those that I understand from my years of researching these three companies, I would say right now I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now. I would say right now eBay would be my favorite out of these three stocks to buy. Okay, so that's all I've got for this video comparing the three e-commerce stocks and which one is the best e-commerce stock to buy. I really want to thank you for tuning in. I know there's a lot you could be doing with your time, but you chose to tune in and watch this video. I really sincerely appreciate that. So let me say thank you very much, and I really hope I will see you again sometime soon. Thank you for watching.